أهلا وسهلا فيكم متابعينا، حلقة جديدة من برنامج شرايها عليا. اليوم عندي حوار معكم عليا المؤيد. حواري اليوم مع مستر أرسين باموكسوزر، تركي الجنسية وعنده مصحات صحة حوالين تركيا وفي بلدان ثانية أيضا. ورحلته إلى الصحة بدأت في وقت متأخر من حياته، ولكن فعلا اكتشف أشياء كثيرة ومعلوماته جدا ثرية، فبغيت أحاوره اليوم عشان تنتشر الفائدة وتعمل فائدة. ولكن حوارنا باللغة الإنجليزية فيه لا ترجمة بالعربي، يجب أن تفعل من الإعدادات في الحلقة نفسها. الحلقة كلها مترجمة، فعلوا الترجمة في الإعدادات. Thank you very much, Mr. Ersin, for talking to us in the last episode about the process of dying and how we are dying slower and how people who are at a much younger age don't necessarily feel the health that they should at their age. And we ended that episode talking about ideas that you gave on where to start, because for a lot of people, eating has become a source of joy for them. So telling them, remove this from your diet or remove that is a scary concept, because they depend on it for comfort, they depend on it for finding joy. So tell us, where can someone start if food right now is a big part of their mental, psychological happiness?
Yeah, I mean, at least my experience, in order to discover, in order to broaden our life experience, our number of sources of joy and happiness in life, you need to at least be aware, at least to be conscious what kind of life you have. So, for example, in my case, I realized I'm a chain of habits. So things are automatically happens. And sometimes, I mean, in the beginning, they were maybe very satisfying, rewarding habits, but over the time, they become, I mean, a routine. So they didn't like take somebody the first time he smokes or she smokes a cigarette, it gives them a pleasure. They feel very strong, comfortable, say into the team, etc. They are maybe 17 years old. And suddenly after 20 years, they are smoking their 1 million cigarette, but they don't feel anything. Nothing of the reward is there, but it become a routine rather than a joy, enjoyment, etc. So my point is, a lot of this type of habit, routine-based joys really disappears after a time. So you do the things just because that's the routine of yourself. And suddenly you realize if you stop that, really, you don't miss anything. You because there was no reward anymore. It was reward in the first 1 year or 6 months, but then it's lost. It become a routine. On the other hand, when you, I mean, rewire your way, you get a kind of awareness. You feel who you are, how you are. So I call it growth. I mean, I'm not calling it, but the word calls it growth mindset. We all have a mindset. The mindset could be fixed, repeating yourself and having a kind of a cornered, small box life. Or you can have all the other opportunities open for yourself. For that, you need to dare to take the risk of having a growth mindset. Growth mindset means you need to be open to the new ways, new habits, new way of thinking, etc. So for me, it was interesting to experience that I do this certain things without special, say, expectation, meeting, just I do because 10 o'clock we drink coffee at the job. And when I drink coffee, I take a cake next to that. When I'm walking by a certain place, I eat this and that over there because I did last 15 years. But there is no special fulfillment around it, no special enjoyment, just I'm repeating the procedure. So it become a routine. So suddenly for me, it become interesting with other ones. I enjoy, and it opens a new, say, menu of items, joyful items, good items, etc. And if I could make this change, suddenly I can afford other things also. Like, for example, when I started to change the way I eat, the way I think, and suddenly I became physically more able. I go for skiing every year, a week with my daughter. And in the last whatever years, it has been very easy for me go and ski 8 hours a day because I had all the energy, because my muscles, my body is more responsive, mind is more responsive. So the point is, when we feel stuck with that life and want to change that life because we like to stay in our comfort zone, and going out of the comfort zone, you need some kind of encouragement. That's why, I mean, the way I think, you need some kind of assistance. Either you should have a very strong personality, very strong willpower, so you can switch from one way of living to the other, or you should go into an environment that people really make sure that you are surrounded with the solution, not the problem. At least you get a kind of good base to continue when you are at home. And you should also find some like-minded people to listen to them on the YouTube or follow them here and there. And if you have this type of people as a friend of yourself, talk to them, and once or twice belong to groups where they discuss this type of. So you need to feed your project. You have a project from moving out from comfort zone to a better body, better mind, no depression, no anxiety, no obesity, no diabetes, etc. All this is good, but to make that move, you need some kind of anchoring point. At that anchoring point will be some like-minded people with the frequency of broadcasting of this type of motivation, etc. And you need to feed yourself, your project like that. And if possible, if you can afford it, time-wise, money-wise, etc., you should be also into an environment, at least for some time, to overcome the initial difficulties of this. Like, for example, I always say, you need to have a kind of right setup when you start your project. Like, for example, you want to start with a cleansing. To make a cleansing when you are working, it's very difficult because you have the stress of the job that will be disturbing your cleansing process, and you will be disturbed of the, say, offerings around yourself in your environment. When you open your refrigerator, you will be disturbed of, you will be disturbed of a lot of other things. So that's why I always recommend, if you can afford time-wise, you don't have a time, and if you have enough resources, so I would suggest you should have a kind of environment, which I call it healing environment, and have the roots established, seeds established in such an environment, so you make a progress, you lose some weight, you get a new way of thinking, you get used to some kind of new tastes, new way of, having a relation, thinking differently, having a more calm mind, and then go back and try to improve your everyday life. It's my experience, at least I would say, the reason I've been successful, I could take time, say, all my life to make a good start, and then continue when I'm back to the life with improvements and make it to be kept in life. And I do, like in my case, first time I introduced myself, I did 4 weeks the first year, 4 special weeks just addressing my, say, rewiring project with cleansing, healthy eating, healthy thinking, etc. Then it becomes much easier, because when you do something and after some time, it's easy you fall back into your bad habits. So that's why if you have after 3 months or so a new trial, etc., then you overcome the risk of relapsing. So a lot of people talk to me, okay, I'm here, very good, I enjoy this after that month or this period, etc. So it is a kind of planning, I would say, when you start, you decide to get more color into your life, more joy into your life, you need to make sure that it is maintained and it is one way or other reinforced wherever you are or however you think it's proper, etc., etc. And also, when you put a bit of good part of your life, like for example, when I solved some of my problems, and then it was easier to solve the others. I mean, I can give you a few examples. Like for example, when I was okay with my body's shape, I entered into the area of mental health. Like for example, I said, how can I have better relation with other people? And it is, I found out it's easy. First of all, you need to accept them. Everybody in our life is really honest. They really mean what they are saying. So we should need to accept them. We should say, okay, she thinks like that. He thinks like that. That's nothing wrong with that, because it's already so. I can't make anything about it. That's called radical acceptance. We need to accept the surrounding. We don't need to fight. We don't need to create a problem because other people are thinking different. And suddenly that helped me a lot. When I feel they're okay, then I put my point. I say, look, I think differently. I appreciate you think like this, but I think differently. And I try to validate them and suddenly make them honored, etc. And the relation becomes much easier. I mean, suddenly a stressful relation, accepting them, validating them, honoring them, opens a door with, I mean, totally different relation. Suddenly you get a problem out of your life, you get a joy into your life. And this was, for example, after I did this certain say progress with my physical wellness, and I went to mental, and see suddenly I'm much better. Everywhere I go, I greet people. I'm grateful that they are on the desk and helping me with the check-in. So as soon as I start like that, suddenly I get better service. I mean, somebody comes and says, here's my ticket, check me in, etc. And the guy says, oh, you have 3 kilo overweight, go and please pay. I go there, I say, how are you, etc. Yeah, if possible, can you help me, etc. Maybe I have 5 kilo overweight. The guy says, no problem, go sir. So you suddenly get a better, easier flow of life because you are nice to the people. You are not demanding, etc. So you bit by bit build up a kind of better yourself and enjoy life much better. And also that's a side effect that the people around you, they feel better also. they get encouraged. So, you know, for example, my wife didn't do the same journey, but she gets second-hand help. She gets, for example, because I'm a kind of plant-based, say up to 90% vegan type person, and she cooks also plant-based, and we eat together. She gets second-hand help. She's not convinced that plant is everything, but she says, okay, this is part of my life also. When I'm, say, not stressed, she gets relaxed also, because having somebody like a bomb any minute ready to explode, exchange to somebody, he's relaxed, etc. That gives a different dimension of relation. So I really feel if anybody feels for a kind of locked in, miserable, full of problem life, they have really a chance to move to a better life. And for that, they need to make step-by-step small improvements and try to make a kind of improvement, not only on the food side, but also on their relations, on their, say, assets. That's another thing. For example, a lot of people live too much for the things in life. So I have a daughter, she's a minimalist. So she does everything with little. And I see she's so much freer than everybody else, because she doesn't fight for getting this, that, or that, and building up an imperium. No, she's just enjoying the life with what is necessary and then collecting more. So that's why, for example, for me, this was also interesting experience to get rid of the things which I was carrying just because of a kind of consumption habit, to collect without, I mean, I check out, for example, some shoes I never use, they're still there. So all these things, you have houses, you pay maintenance, etc. You go 3 days a year. And all this makes you a kind of, I mean, maybe not direct, but indirect burden in your mind. It occupies you how to solve that, how to do that. But when you detox your life, when it comes to not physical, but also when it comes to the things, relations, etc., that's also important. If you have a relation impossible to say, then you should stay away. I mean, you can't just insist on changing somebody and try to, I mean, create a new version of it, of him or her. That's impossible. Then you should say, okay, in cases you can leave. Like, for example, if it is a job, I easily leave the job. But if it is a family, you can't leave. But still, you need to know that that relation needs to be taken care of in a good way, in a non-harming way, etc., etc. So my journey has taught me you can be successful. Don't buy too much. Improve bit by bit, and don't underestimate the importance of the mental side, psychological side, social side, the relations side, and also don't underestimate the pressure of the commercial consumption-based life having on us. And all this is a balance, and we need to have that balance. We can't live without a job. We can't live without a social environment. We can't live without a family, trusted friends, etc. We need to have all of them, but we need to make sure that these people gets the deserved respect, deserved, say, kindness. And like nowadays, I'm a lot on Thailand, and it's interesting. I get introduced to a terminology called power of kindness. So suddenly I invented that if you are kind, really you get a lot of good things happening around yourself. So power of kindness is really an important matter. So all this is you collect yourself, I mean, on the way to your pocket for a winning formula for a new life. I'm not saying this is easy, but I'm just saying it's really good you do such a thing. I'm really enjoying, thanks God, I get introduced to this by chance. It was not planned. And thanks God, I have this type of, lifestyle change process, which recreated myself. And I really enjoy having a peaceful life, and I really enjoy sharing this type of peaceful life with all the other people.
No, I really like the idea of power of kindness, because we know what kindness means, but we also need to apply it to ourselves. But you touched on so many topics. I mean, each topic that you've touched upon can be an episode in itself. The importance of non-attachment. We're attached to so many things in our lives, including our food and including our image and our egos. But non-resistance is very important. Like you said, radical acceptance, accepting everything that happens, including where I'm at the moment, and including accepting that I don't know where to start, and this is where I'm going to start today, with one step at a time. And this is the main reason why I take a group of people twice a year on a self-discovery trip, let's call it, or a health trip, where they experience, because exactly what you said, I don't know where to start, and I don't want to start because I don't know how it will feel when I start. So it's always nice to be immersed in an experience for a week, for 10 days, for however long you want to go, wherever you want to go. But just give your body a chance to get there. And once it gets that feeling, then it can easily be mimicked afterwards. And it can be recreated in the body in the future as you improve your life. But I think immersing yourself in an experience initially, if you don't know where to start, is definitely a good place to be. But thank you, Ersin. I think if we talk, we will continue talking till tomorrow. So I'm going to stop here, and I want to really thank you for your wise words, and I hope we have future episodes together. And I want to see what people's experiences are. Please leave us your comments under the episode, what you feel about what Ersin was saying. If you have any questions for him as well, put them in the comments, and we'll see if we can come up with future topics for future episodes. Thank you very much, Ersin.
Thank you, Alia. And I'm grateful you gave me this chance. And this gives me also a chance of mentioning being grateful is one of the important, say, secret sources for a better life. Thank you.
Yes, we're all grateful. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.